You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Life advice. The email is lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. What is up to Steve? What is up to Cerruti? You worked late last night, right, Kyle?
Yeah, so did Steve.
Oh, that's right. I always forget Cerruti's in on the Bill Sal extravaganza. You don't talk on it, though, do you?
Not during NFL season, no. You know, if there's like a random magic nugget during the season, during NBA season, sure.
Right there.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Well, you know, like Bill, it's always just like, hey, Cerruti there, have him hop on. I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's go. What are we talking about?
Which is interesting because that means you either have to like start rolling, you know, for audio that will not be used 99% of the time, and you're just rolling on a file on a 2-hour Bill pod, or it's like, hey, is Cerruti there? And he's scrambling for shit. So
it's the scramble. Yep.
Yeah, it's the scramble.
And sometimes it's not on. I'm putting batteries in.
A lot of memory you don't want. Yeah, a lot of memory you don't want to waste doing that.
But no, I don't. Yeah, I don't interrupt.
It's like a receiver. You're just like, you don't know the route. And you're just like,
yeah.
And then you look back at the huddle.
Just Kelsey it.
Like, hands up, palms to the sky. We've had a lot of people fired up about the revenge stuff. And look, there's some really good suggestions. I don't think it's probably great for us. I don't know that Spotify is going to be psyched if we just be like, here's 7 things you could do. So I'm going to stay away. Kyle, I imagine you've been thinking about the revenge thing for a few days.
Yeah, through the lens of constructive revenge, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, not destructive, constructive. And it was really all about, it was really about making you feel better, not about making the guy feel worse. So that maybe gives way to the lighter side of revenge, I think. So, I don't know.
I think we'll read this just to help other people. A guy chimed in. He said, look, I work at Yelp. This isn't going to work. He goes, there's basically an algorithm that figures it all out. Getting revenge via Yelp reviews is unlikely to work, especially if your guy doesn't already use Yelp regularly. If the review is about, this guy took my girlfriend for $15K a few years ago, it violates the content guidelines and would be removed if flagged. If it says this place sucks, it may stay, but we use the software to try to identify insincere reviews. And while not certain, a new user's reviews probably won't stick. So there you go. You're going to be in the Yelp game. So this guy's going to have to start saying, like, great ice cream. The cones never stop. And, like, there's plenty of parking. And I can't believe how great, just complimenting everybody everywhere to then say something negative to get the comment
Which
to stay
lifts
up.
up the community, I think. Maybe it's worth it.
Sounds like too much work. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work. There was another guy that, well, no, wait, this is the same guy he was upset about a transaction, and he just started hitting him with customer service emails because he knew that it cost them a certain amount to respond to all of them. So basically, we appreciate the Yelp reach out there. That's probably not going to get it done. I gotta be honest with you, when I click on something and it leads to Yelp immediately, I'm kind of like, all right, I need to get it. Like, how do we get out here again?
Well, but the tough thing is when you Google like best Chinese restaurants in Hollywood, and then it brings you to this thing that the headline says 10 best Chinese restaurants in Hollywood, and Yelp just totally doesn't do what it says it's going to do in the headline. It's not making any sense. So I'm out on Yelp.
All right. There you go. Probably not going to do a sponsorship anytime soon. Probably try to shy away from doing that in the future. But I've ended up in a Yelp maze before, and I'm like, I just wanted to find pancakes in the area, and I don't want insurance.
Not El Segundo, dude. I don't know.
Right.
This isn't Hollywood. Yeah. There's more than 10 here. So what's going on?
Article? Yeah.
Best pancakes for singles. What? Okay.
It always goes back to like Kyle. Obviously, maybe Yelp won't be a sponsor, but the best is always Canal. Just absolutely. I don't even want to say who the sponsor was, but just like openly ripping the sponsor's food while we had reads for them during the show on the old radio show. Pretty great.
Oh, like during the non-sponsored segments, he would just be dumping all over Red Robin or something.
For some reason, a fast food chain came up and he was like, trash fries. And we're like, dude, we did a read for them like 2 segments ago. Like, what is
2
that?
segments ago.
Still today.
A huge buyer of college football space. And he's just destroying them. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to figure out the game there a little bit with it. I'll never forget Barstool, when they got started, Portnoy used to buy radio time at the station that I worked at. It was my second on-air gig after minor league baseball, but my first talk show gig, like the first show I ever did, was a Celtics fill-in thing. And then the first talk show I did was with Michael Smith. It was at ESPN forever. I think Michael Smith was like 15. And Portnoy, like the station was a mess. Okay. It was a mess. But Polar was a sponsor, and they loaded our fridge up with every possible flavor you could ever imagine. And for us, that was incredible. Like when Fuddruckers dropped off cheeseburgers for your boy, I'd eat it in the middle of the day. Bertucci's pizzas, even though the guy that had the deal loved white onion all over the pizza. So that made it a little more difficult. I would smash the worst possible food ever because I didn't have any money a lot of the times to maximize the calories. And Portnoy did like a segment on how terrible Polar was. Like that was their segment. And then we came in on Monday. I was like, what's the problem? They're like, dude. And like, that was a big deal for us. We're like, we might lose Polar.
for the $4,000 of airtime or whatever.
Right. We might lose Polar, guys. We're like, shit. Like Red Sox won an extra innings. Yeah, that's not important right now. Okay. This is let's do a couple simple ones and we'll do a long one. I like this one. Hey, like the pod, I'm Joe's 3163-190 Insanity workout videos enthusiast. Those were not easy. Player comp, Rafe LaFrance. I will jack up threes that no one wants to see or needs. I work in software, have a condo in Mashfield, grew up in Hull. My question is, when is the cutoff for adult rec lacrosse leagues? I'm 31, as he said earlier. Well, I already know where I'm going with this one. I played at UMass Boston, played defense, and was captain. All right, so our guy's good. Now that everyone in the league is 23 years old, I'm wondering when I should stop. Is there a protocol for what age to stop, or am I making a social faux pas? Thank you. Look, man, the fact that you can still, like, I imagine you're still really good at 31. 31 is not old, okay? Like, yeah, I'm probably sure you're sick of the 23-year-old guys all talking like hockey players from Canada now. Which is the worst thing that's happened to social media and hockey. Like the hockey guys had their thing, they had their names, Rootsy, I guess Cridy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, the boys, and like it was kind of funny when you hung out with them because they had their dialect and it was like kind of going into the wild and they were always sort of fun. And they were like, I wonder if this guy's thinking this. You're like, he's definitely not thinking that much about that. Don't worry about it. Right. And now social media has kind of destroyed it because now every dickhead with a Zin in is talking like he played third line at Dartmouth. So I don't really know what's going on with that. So maybe that's part, but like this to me is so simple. There's going to be a time when physically you have no chance of playing with these guys. And if you're still playing this many years past college, you clearly like it. So unless you're a dork and you feel like the guys are making fun of you and you're questioning it, which I don't think you are because you didn't say that. And you were the captain, unless you were like super intense and kiss the coach's ass. And like, I can't believe they made him. Can't believe they made Millsy captain. So I really think, look, my vote is a hard keep playing because I would love to be in some kind of league still. One, I can never be in them because they're like, oh, the games are at 7. Yeah, okay, out. This is just not happening. Like I haven't been in a league in a really, really long time. I used to love it, take it way too seriously in my 20s when I had no responsibilities. I fucking loved it. And then go out with the guys after, go out with the boys, shooter, peekers, after. But I don't think you're committing any kind of social faux pas. Keep playing until you suck. And if you suck, maybe you can still keep playing. But I think the social thing is the only part of it that's a little weird. If you feel disconnected from these guys, which you probably would be a decade older and all that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, if you are this into it to still be playing in this league, if you shut it down now, in a couple years, you're going to be like, I shouldn't have done that. I still missed this. And then you're going to try to pick it right back up with a huge gap in between. And there's going to be stuff that's missing. Again, my greatest regret in life is not sticking with hoops for this beginning of the Van Pelt window because of work and not having access to playing anywhere where I felt safe in downtown Hartford, even though I still did play.
Plus, you've got your sport is lax, so it's not like you're show up to a basketball court and wait around for an hour, and your chances are pretty good a game materializes, right? So it's like, if you still want to do this, there's really only a few ways to get this done. Unless you go like buddy game style once a year and you track down however many people you need to play lacrosse and do it. So I think this is kind of your only option. And it also isn't really like a 50-year-old and up lax league out there, or there's probably not many. So this is kind of your option. And so, yeah, you might be the only guy who's thinking about a 401k, but you're still like closer to that than you are to, whatever 50 plus, blue plate special lax league there is out there. So I think this is totally your move until it's either bad for you or you find another option that's better for you. So I think this is your move.
Yeah, I don't think like young guys in those pickup style games hate old guys just because they're old. They hate
Also
the
31.
old guy. Yeah, but they hate yeah, that's not even that old exactly. But they hate the old guy because of the things that he does. Like, we were talking a couple pods ago about the old guy throwing elbows at the YMCA playing hoops. Like, that's why they don't like you. It's not like it's like an anti-age. It's not like an ageism thing. Like, it's just usually there's stereotypes that the older people like kind of bring to whatever sport you're doing. Just don't do that. Just don't be a dick, and it'll be fine. Like, if you just want to get some good running and play and be competitive, like, you don't even have to be awesome. Just play. I started doing that. Like, I started picking up soccer kind of later in life, and I didn't grow up playing soccer. And I knew my skill level, and I just played left back because it was like kind of the least, difficult position to play, at least in like a pickup game. And you just kind of try to blend in. So I don't think the age thing is the issue at all.
Did you wear headbands?
Of course I did. Yeah, I had long hair back then.
Nice.
Looking like Luka Modric out there. No big deal.
Yeah, I think Cerruti hit on something right there too. Like, if a guy's 23 and he starts talking about his credit score, like, don't give him a speech.
Yeah.
My guess is if this is all about playing and there haven't been any issues whatsoever. And again, there's also a part of this. They may like you, especially if you're good and you play defense. Like, dude, he's awesome and he plays D. So I really think at 31, and that, I think it's normal to kind of wonder, like, oh, should I not be doing this? I'm sure, by the way, if you care about it that much, there's leagues with guys closer to your age.
Yes.
But if you're still good, I wouldn't be worried about it at all. But I would also make sure you don't turn into a preachy guy, right? Mm-hmm. Which, you're playing lacrosse, it's not like you're at church here. All right. I think that one's pretty easy. Agreement all around. Should I do this quick one? Because I kind of get called out for lying.
Yeah.
But it's also a life advice. 6 foot, 235. Poor man's Malik Rose in pickup. So I host a national radio show on SiriusXM NBA radio twice a week, and like to bring on the most insightful guests possible on my show. There's a podcast host that I'm a big fan of, who I've had the privilege to interview a few times. During the NBA playoffs, I was hosting a post-game show, and since this host is based on the West Coast, I do a morning show on the East Coast. I rarely ask him to join me in my time slot. So I asked this podcast host to join me on one of my playoff post-game shows, which would have been 9 p.m. on the West Coast. The host told me that he was playing golf and couldn't join me.
Topgolf, baby.
Yeah,
just went right across of Staples there.
So here's my question. Was he actually playing golf at 9:00 with the lights on the golf course, like the special TNT events with Tiger, Phil, Curry, Rogers, etc.? Was he at Topgolf, or was he pulling my leg because he wants me to stop asking?
I think
if I'm going to lie, look, if I'm going to lie to you, I'm going to come up with a better lie than that.
I'm golfing.
I did, yeah, Topgolf. It's the lakes. There's a little par 3 in El Segundo. It's 5 minutes from my house. And there's certain nights when the hoops gets over and it's all hoops, especially during the playoffs. I'm like, man, I could shut the brain off for a bit. I go play 10 holes. I can get it done in an hour, and then I'm home in 5 minutes. Shout out to my guy Nick at the lakes in El Segundo. He's always got a 3-teamer going with FanDuel. Always. And so I didn't lie. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't lie. Okay.
No, I'm just saying I didn't. No, obviously he's talking about me, because I remember I was like, yeah, I'm golfing. And then there was this awkward silence.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, he plays on the public course there. McCann, I think they do like once or twice a year. They just bust in some lights and do it. Like, I mean, maybe it was a big deal. But It's if my dad does it, I think Russillo could do it too. So
even if you did lie, as like a long time, radio and pod producer, and our guys Cliff and Stefan who are on this will back me up on this. The at least you responded. The worst option that you can get as a producer is having the guest not respond, because then you're just in limbo for like hours, not knowing if you ever guessed or not. So if you lie to me, I don't even care. Just say yes or no. So you said it was a no. So that move on. Who's the next guest? We could take off the list.
I've been not responding some.
Definitely respond. Just say no. It's okay.
yeah, because in this world, the reason doesn't even matter. Half the time, you're like, when the producers tell you that, like, I don't know, some actor can't do it anymore, something came up or something, it's always a lie. It's always a lie. I remember having to do it for like Bill or anyone. It was just like, just make up a lie. like, somebody's be like, get me out of this thing. We're like, okay. And what, the other producer is going to tell the other person's producer that I don't believe this? No, it's like, yeah, it's the dentist. I don't know. Like, just next time we'll reschedule it. So I think the bar for believable stories is pretty low in this industry too.
I think the last radio hit that I did, I went and played basketball before, and it was like landing right in the middle of my day. And I kept thinking like, hey, don't, like, make sure you're available. Make sure you're available for this thing. Like, don't go to the beach. Don't, like, because I don't bring my phone when I go in the water or anything like that. And I was like, oh, and the guy's like, are you done? I was like, yeah, I'm done. Sorry. And I sat in my car and sweat for 25 minutes while I was on the phone, sweating all over everything. And it was so hot in the car, and I was fucking dying. And the interview kept going and going and going. And I think my phone was like ruined later that night. And then I was able to, I go, hey, maybe just say no to that one.
Yep.
Like, maybe just say no to that one. And it was like sort of an epiphany for me to go, just to have these in the middle of the day. So again, I'm going to sound like a jerk, so I'm going to stop talking about it that way. But yeah, look, I can't play night golf on a real course. I have a hard enough time with some of my drives because I hate being like, can't find my ball guy. It's the worst. And at night, I don't know. I mean, I glow in the dark balls, I guess. Topgolf one does have glow in the dark, but it's all par 3. So you're going to find your ball. I mean, it's very hard to lose your ball on that course. So yeah, man, didn't lie to you. Okay. Let's do one that is potentially, oh yeah. This one's a little bit more serious. Okay. 31. Hey, shout out to the 31-year-olds chiming in today. 61225. Player comp, Luke Richard Mbamute. I was minding my own business the other day when an ex texted me out of the blue, LOL, you officially made the Crazy Girl fan book page, exclamation. With the screenshots I attached below, at first I found it comedic. All right, so basically the post was, are we dating the same guy? Gave the location, gives the name, gives the age, and then a picture, and it's a picture of the guy emailing. By the way, good-looking guy. This is like an action shot in a wedding. This guy walks with serious confidence. This guy has Dion Waiters' wedding confidence. And then there's all these posts saying we matched on Hinge. Super weird, super suspicious. Okay, so that's not what you want to do if you're not actually, it's your picture, your details, but you're actually not the guy. So our guy continues. At first I found it comedic, but then realized the group has roughly 45,000 members, which has the potential to include family members and coworkers for all I know. And I'd hate for them to think lesser of me or see me in a negative light. Not to mention, how does this affect me meeting new women? Well, dude, based on your picture, I'm not worried about you at all. How does this affect me? Yeah, man. Wicked hot emailer to close out the show. Could be just a good pick, though. I am a little worried about that, but it's good size, too. 6'1", 225. Jesus. Meeting women organically or Hinge, or where they could recognize my face on the page despite it not being anything crazy. I won't bother reaching out to the girl who submitted it to this group because what good will that do? And the way I believe that the page works is someone submits screenshots and descriptions of the page, and then admins post it. So I don't think she could take it down herself. Now, as you'll see in the screenshot, there isn't anything on there too disparaging of me from my ex and others. I've reached out that are in the group. That post is very tame compared to the crimes of other men that include all sorts of stuff. As the purpose of the page is to warn other girls and guys to stay away from, or ask if the guy they're currently seeing. Imagine being like, I've got questions about this guy's phone's always upside down. Let me hit up this page. Is involved with anyone else, hence the name Are We Dating the Same Guy? I find myself extremely frustrated since we went on 2 run-of-the-mill dates and canceled, and only one time since my dog was sick, and I wanted to stay home to make sure she was all right. This guy cares about animals, too. I don't see more than one girl at any time. I'm not that kind of person, nor could I even handle that. All right, relax. You know? And how could she see that as an established relationship when those 2 dates probably combined for probably 3 to 4 hours of time and never did anything more than a post-date kiss? How do I handle this? Is there anything I can even do? Do I get ahead of it on future dates and say I was posted on that page? Don't. The easiest advice is, first and foremost, don't introduce yourself as, hey, by the way, I'm on this page. All right? Because it's just going to, even if it's a funny story and the girl's really cool, there's going to be plenty of other girls that are like, wait, intro was something else. All right? So he actually did go on a date with this girl and then said, hey, are we dating the same guy? And then whatever. And then somebody else was like, hey, that's not him on the screenshot. But I had that happen with a guy who's been posted here, schedule, cancel, blah, 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 blah. All right. So a bunch of dudes just taking arrows left and right here.
Yeah.
You guys, I'll defer to you guys on this one.
I mean, this is a national page, right? I mean, this seems so like 2000s or something. Like, go to like ratemyboyfriend.net. Like, how many girls are even doing that? How many girls are you going to come across that were like, you know, I saw you on that niche page that has 45,000 followers from across the country. And I think your chances are high about this, you know, not ever coming up again. But I don't know. It's I don't think there's much to be done.
45,000 is nothing.
Yeah, but across the country, though. I mean, that's like you're barely getting paid for a meme page there or something. You know, like,
we're in agreement. 45,000 is a very low number. So because this is your world now for a couple of days, and people have seen you on this, and apparently, just to clarify the timeline here, and I'm not even sure that I'm 100% on this. He went on a couple dates with someone who then was like, yeah, here's the guy. He's on the right. And then somebody else was like, no, you're confusing the 2 people. So he may have actually hung out with somebody 2 dates, according to him. And then somebody else was cross-referencing it in the main frame. And then they were like, no, that's actually not like the same guy. So he's on this page. Very few people will ever see it. I would not intro with any of this. It'd be nice maybe if you reach out to the person that maybe started the whole thing. But again, it's like you said, I don't know the tech side of this, that they can take the whole thing down. And here's the point. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the retraction. Nobody cares about the correction in the paper. Something's above the fold, and then the correction's on page fucking 12. Nobody cares. Nobody pays attention to this stuff. The other thing is that nobody will pay attention to the first part of this. Like, people move on. This isn't significant enough. You're not even being accused of doing anything than potentially going out on dates with the same 2 people within the same timeline. And so then it's immediately refuted on the screen grab.
So he kind of got like Ancestry.com a little bit. Like I've been I got a free trial like a month ago of Ancestry.com and sat on my porch smoking cigarettes until like 2 a.m. Just like, I don't know if you've ever done Ancestry.com.
No, but the
like,
floor is yours right now. Take as long as you want on this.
You put in your information, and then you put in your parents' information. If you know your grandparents, they have a pretty good idea because they use like, you know, marriage certificates, birth records, baptisms, and shit like that. So once you get like a line of like 2 or 3 people going, it's like algorithm be like, we think we found your dad. We may have found this person's mother. And, you know, once you get back like, I don't know, 100 years, 150 years, you're like kind of guessing. And so, I don't know, I look up at like 2 a.m. I'm in the 1500s, and I realize like, I don't even know if these people are, I don't know. It said that there was another Crichton born 25 years before his possible son. And now, you know, now I'm related to Robert the Bruce, bro. I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, it's like you don't do a ton of research, and you just like, you're like, yeah, this seems like the guy. I don't know. So he kind of got like, he looks sort of like somebody on this website, and somebody just confirmed it. So now there's 2 people that have like some line to him where one doesn't even really exist, right?
What just happened there? So you just went back to the 1500s? One night
about a month
on
ago.
Ancestry.
You didn't do the DNA thing though? Like you just did it like via names?
Well, I mean, that's like $60, dude. And then
I had it
send
gifted
something
to me.
out.
I had it gifted to me, and I did it. And I kind of regret it, but because now I get emails.
Why?
Like, oh, because there's like, oh, this person, you know, whatever, and then it connects you. I also don't want to reconnect with any of these people. Like, I don't want to find any long lost relatives. I just
That's
am,
what I'm saying. I don't want any cousins. I want to see like what's going on back. Like,
I got enough family already. I'm good. Yeah, for now. Like, I don't need long lost cousins. Hit me up on Facebook
for internships now. And shit.
Yeah, I just don't need any of that in my life. But it was cool. And now that we're doing an ancestry thing, it was cool because it was like, you know, it was like, hey, you're like 25% Greek. I never knew that. There's actually a really
Are
cool
you?
story in my family, according to Ancestry.com or whatever. I forget which one I did, that or 23andMe. But there was always
We're
this
gonna have
like
to
kind
watch
of
our
like,
Greek jokes.
I don't want to say it was like a tall tale in our family, like that. Apparently, like one of our great whatever relatives like murdered somebody in France and then moved to Italy, because my family's kind of right on the Italy. We're from like the Genoa area, so it's kind of right near France there.
Shout out to
And
Columbus,
apparently,
except for that.
yeah, apparently this guy like fled France, changed his name to Cerruti, and just changed the spelling from DE to TI at the end, and we became from French, we became Italians. I tried to see if that was true, wasn't on there at all. So that was the only thing. That was the only reason I actually did it. So
That's a good reason. But once you hang out the Mediterranean a lot, depends on which part you hang out. You start to realize that a lot of it just kind of gets
it's all the
pushed
same.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm vaguely Mediterranean. That's what I call it.
That's nice. It's a good way to put it.
Reincarnation's interesting.
I agree.
Because I don't really get it. I don't know. I feel like I believe in nothing, but I'm open.
Anything's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I totally agree.
Right. Like, that's probably not true, but maybe. It's like me early in the football season. Maybe he's good. I don't know. But I just don't, like, every time I'll hear somebody talk about, like, if they're super into reincarnation, which is not often, I'll admit. I don't come across a lot of these conversations, but it was like, oh, I was a Victorian, whatever. You're like, all right, cool. Now what? Like, oh, I was a Viking. Like, all right, you still got to pick up your kids, 3. Like, I don't know where the value, and it's never something that isn't interesting, right?
Right. My
Like,
mom's
I was a
summer,
farmer's assistant.
right. My mom's husband this summer was out at the little fireplace out in the front yard there, and he told me like he had like a specific he said there's like 7 levels of it, and he's got all these fucking crazy books, and he was like explaining, not that I was like looking away, like trying to do that thing that I do where I'm like, wow, that's crazy, let's move on,
man.
like,
Where's the
cooler?
cooler?
Yeah. But he just
Let me
kept
get some
going, and
cigarettes. Hold on.
he's telling me there's like, I don't know, 8 levels of this or 7 levels, and what happens with light and stuff like that. And I mean, I've never been more out at anything that lasted longer than that happened. So, yeah, big reincarnation guy. I think he said he must be on level 4 or something, because ants are like level 1 or something. And I don't know. I
Right, but every time I've ever heard anyone tell me their reincarnation story, and I'll listen, I'll go, okay. It's always something fascinating. And I'm like, not that many of us are this interesting.
Well, the ones that are really cool, like, you ever seen those? I think I saw one on Instagram the other day of like this like little kid who was like 7 who was vividly recalling like the memories of some guy who was born in like the 1850s, and you're like, hey, how do you explain that? I don't know.
Right.
Script,
on YouTube,
parents ahead of time, fake videos. I think every video is fake.
But you're open.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
right, like the
It's
guy in the
interesting. Piqued my
wakeboard catching the fish that doesn't do anything when he grabs it out of the water. Like, that fish has been dead for a week. All right. Oh, so good luck, man. Let us know how that
I don't
goes.
know.
All right.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Just give it a couple days. You'll be all right.
It'll be fine. Look, your picture could be worse. You're
Yeah,
going to be
Stanley
going on
could,
more
dude, it's working.
dates. If anything, this episode's a huge ego boost to this guy. You might introduce yourself as that. Like, Silipod thinks I'm pretty hot, or at least the older guy does. All right. Thanks to Cerruti. Thanks to Kyle. Thanks to Cliff. Thanks to Stefan. Big crew today on the show. We'll be back Wednesday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday until February. 3 days a week. Ryen Russillo podcast.